Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Beauty in the Derm. Today I have some questions for you, and we're going to do something exciting. So what are some questions that, I guess, common questions people ask you about, like fine lines and things like that?
So a lot of people know a brand called Botox, which is a neuromodulator or neurotoxin. When we talk about it, we often don't like to use the word toxin because it's scary.
Yeah, I was wondering about that.
And because of that, a lot of people ask if it's safe to put a poison into their face. When you phrase it like that, it sounds pretty scary. But these products have been FDA approved, and we do inject them into the facial muscles.
Okay, so what would make it a toxin that's usable? Can you answer that?
Yeah, so the company spent a lot of time and research dollars to purify the toxin that they use. And it's a botulinum toxin, which is similar to what you would find in food that's gone bad. So just like that could be really bad for you, these are tiny, tiny, minute quantities. But they do cause paralysis in the muscles where they're injected. And so that's why you get an improvement in the wrinkles.
Okay, I'm glad you told me that because I would have been scared.
There are some restrictions, however.
Okay.
So you don't want to inject any kind of neuromodulator if you're pregnant or if you're breastfeeding. Okay. Some people do it if you're breastfeeding. I don't recommend that.
Okay. Sounds interesting. So we are going to try it on me today, right? Isn't that what's happening?
The first thing I always tell people is you want to make sure you're going to somebody who's a board certified, either dermatologist or plastic surgeon, ear, nose, and throat, or ophthalmologist. And why is that? Because if you're going to let somebody inject something into your face that's going to stick around for a while, you want to make sure that they trained in that for more than just a weekend course. And that's just my personal opinion.
Right. So how come everybody just always refers to this as just Botox?
I think it's a lot like the brand name Kleenex. Everybody refers to tissues as Kleenex.
Oh, or like Q-tips as Q-tips.
Yes, exactly. But they're cotton tip applicators.
Did you know that the escalator is called an escalator because of the brand, not because it's an actual escalator?
I did not know
that.
I don't know.
I just figured I'd let you guys know. It's really important to know that fact.
What would it be? It's like a moving staircase?
I don't know. I don't remember, but I just know it as an escalator, and so do most people.
You just gave me some knowledge there, girl.
I taught you about escalators, you're fixing my forehead.
So Botox is just one brand, and I'll show you there are different brands. There's one called Diamond. There's a new one called Jeuveau. Their hashtag is Newtox, so you might see a lot about that on social media. And then there's another brand called Dysport. They all actually are a little bit different. Okay. Their end result is the same. It softens your lines. For me, when I choose to do a neuromodulator in somebody's face, we kind of look at different things. So, how's their skin tone and texture? What age are they? How much sun damage have they gotten? How strong are their muscles?
That makes sense. This is why I would never know any of these things, because I would just be like, yeah, whatever. I don't care. Yeah.
I do think there is a science and art that are combined to make somebody's face look its best, and I think that's why with neuromodulators, you can do a lot of facial shaping, and people don't realize that.
That's why it's important to go to someone who knows what they're doing.
Or it's mess
it up really fast.
Yes.
So are there any sort of complications that usually go along with this, or sometimes go along with this, or that people are concerned about?
So if you have something that's done improperly with a toxin, you can end up with muscular movement that's not even. So in other words, you could have like a Spock brow or a drop lid.
I've seen that.
Yeah. Or if people do it in the forehead, they smile or they try to look up and then all you see is creases up here.
Yeah.
Because they missed a spot.
Right. And it's awkward.
Yeah. So we always tell people in our practice to come in about a week later so we can do any kind of touch-up, and that's always included in the price of our treatments. And that way we make sure that you look perfect. Some places will charge by the unit. We don't do that in our practice. We charge by the result. And our experience is that if you get charged by the unit and something's not quite right, then you will be kind of shortchanging yourself and deciding if you want to come back or not because you have to pay a little bit more. This way you always come back and it's on us to make sure it's perfect. And that way when you're out in public and people are like, oh, you look so good, and you can say, yes, I see Dr. Mariwalla.
I like that. That's funny.
So, of course, our viewers are going to wonder, you're a beautiful woman. You
Thanks.
Are a beauty queen. So what could possibly be bothering you that you think you want to try something like a neuromodulator?
I actually think my viewers could probably guess this because I've complained about it in like 1,000 videos. I am very expressive with my face every time I talk, and for some reason, like right in here, I get this like
resting scowl.
Yeah, and it's just, it just doesn't go away, and then it messes up my makeup throughout the day. So I could have like the perfect makeup, and then you'll just see a line right there just because of my face like constantly like making. Yeah, it's really annoying.
I think that it's a really good point that you bring up, because it's the difference between a dynamic line and a static line. In other words, when we smile, right, these come up, and everybody has them. Some people have dimples, some people get this crease, but that's not something you would take away with something like a neuromodulator.
Right.
And I personally think it's not abnormal to have movement. I think we've transitioned to a place where I have patients come in and they're like, oh, I can move my forehead. And I tell them, like, that's okay.
Yeah.
That's supposed to happen. But when it gets to a point where even after you've stopped moving it, you start seeing a crease or fold at rest, then I think it's reasonable to start thinking about it.
Yeah, well, that's been happening to me for a really long time now.
Well, I think for you, the key thing is going to be to relax it without over freezing it, because I don't want you to look like you're stuck.
Okay.
And since you are a newbie to this, one of the things that we always tell patients is sometimes you can get a headache afterwards.
Okay.
And it's because as it kicks in, you're going to want to keep doing this and you can't.
And you can't.
And then you give yourself a tension headache.
Okay.
But that only lasts a day or two.
Okay, I have tension headaches like 24/7. See, there you go. Like 24/7 anyway, so like I feel like it'll make no difference.
Well, actually then if you always have headaches, you might find that this helps a little bit.
I've heard that this helps. Actually, I remember I went to a neurologist years ago, and they had talked about recommending, Botox. You're like, it can help, but I was like afraid of it. I was like, oh.
So the way that they inject it for therapeutic use and the way we inject it for cosmetic use is a little bit different dosages, and they're not so much interested in the cosmesis of it as they are in just actually freezing all the muscles.
Right, okay.
But a lot of people who do have headaches from time to time do tell me that when they do their injections, it makes them feel a lot less heavy in their head.
Interesting.
So let's show our viewers a little bit about the anatomy of it and what we're going to do today.
Sounds good.
So step one is we are going to clean the area with a little bit of an alcohol.
I have some BB cream on, so...
Yes, we remove all makeup in the area. And go ahead and show the viewers how you frown. So see this line that forms here? We're going to relax the muscles that make that line. And it turns out those muscles that make it go from here all the way to here, and here all the way to here.
Oh, is that why I look like I'm 90? Because like all these little things like go in there.
So this is the belly of it, so stay frowning for me. This is the belly of that muscle, this is the tail, belly and tail, and then this is another muscle group here. So the interaction of these two is what makes that frown.
So just out of curiosity, just doing this earlier on prevented it?
So it turns out that a lot of people are interested in preventative toxin, and for me, I feel like, yes, it's going to train your muscles not to do that movement, but I generally turn people away who don't have any line when they are frowning. Okay. And the reason for that is because while it will prevent some, now when you're 50 and you've been doing it for 25 years, what's your forehead going to look like? And so you really got to think about the process of aging
right?
And knowing that I'm going to be there for the lifetime of your skin, not just for this one-off moment.
Right.
For you, I think that you have strong muscles there, and you've shared with me that this is a familial trait a little bit.
It is.
So I think it's reasonable to do a toxin that's going to give you some movement, not a complete freeze, and that's not going to be very heavy on you. So we're going to show how we do the injection today live, and you'll see it's actually not that painful. You look like you have little bumps afterwards. We tell you not to rub those in or do anything that's going to have your head down for 3 hours after your injection.
Okay.
The first thing I also ask my patients is, aside from could you be pregnant today or are you planning on being pregnant, is have you had any alcoholic beverages in the last 72 hours? Mm-hmm. Because that does make you bleed more. Mm-hmm. And are you a regular user of aspirin, Advil, Aleve, or Excedrin?
No.
Okay, because those also make you bleed a little bit more. Not a big deal, but it does make bruising a possibility. So we're going to do our first injection. We use really tiny needles.
It's so tiny,
it's
I'm
so
still
tiny
scared.
You can barely see it. And you'll see it actually doesn't hurt that much. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, ouchies.
Oh, that really did not hurt.
There you go. How was it? Okay,
Fine.
first injection. I'm going to give a little dab there. And voila! We're gonna go ahead and do 4 more. Okay, you ready?
Mm-hmm.
1, 2, 3, ouch. Good. Another one, ouch. Good, and go ahead and frown for me again as hard as you can. Good job, and relax. This injection point sometimes makes people sneeze, so you let me know.
Sorry, that's funny. I
Or
wasn't
giggle.
expecting you to say that.
1, 2, 3, ouchies. I know, I always say ouchies. Everybody makes fun of me for that. I learned that from one of my nurses when I was in training. So we just dab the area just to make sure you don't leave with any bloody spots. You are going to look like an avatar like that for about 10 minutes.
Cool.
Don't rub the area, don't put any pressure on it, and then these go away on their own.
Okay.
And then you'll see that it's going to kick in about 7 days. Some of the toxins do kick in a little bit faster, but I like this one for you because it's going to still look really natural.
Okay, I'm excited.
Me too.
And I look really funny right now.
Yeah, right now it's not the best look.
That's so funny. Wait,
But-
why does that happen?
Because that's where we place the toxin really
So it's
high,
just
a
like-
bleb.
Oh, okay.
And it's in the muscle group there. And
My
so
forehead
you didn't
is
see
warm.
any.
It's like I feel warm.
It's the thought of it.
Yeah, maybe it's a thought. Okay.
And then you are going to feel, a little bit like it's liquid or something there. That's all normal, but it's perfect.
Perfect. Yay.
So check her out in 7 days.
Yes, I'll show you guys pictures.
So for today's episode of Beauty in the Derm, we hope you enjoyed watching April get her first neuromodulator treatment.
I'm so excited about it.
And the only instructions you have is to not exercise for the next 24 hours.
Not a problem.
The next 3 hours, try not to sleep. And if
okay.
you're looking down at your phone, try to keep a neutral face. That's
Okay.
really important.
Okay.
And that's just the next 3 hours.
Okay.
And then technically you're not supposed to fly on a plane tomorrow. I've never seen that make a difference. Old school used to say, oh, make these faces so it works in better. Studies show that's not true.
Okay.
Just be your normal self.
Okay.
And the other thing I learned from a friend of mine is that if you're going to get a manicure after your little treatment today, make sure they don't put your face down and massage your shoulders because they'll press here.
True.
And then you end up with migration of the toxin.
Oh my goodness, okay.
But I'm excited to see this result.
Yes, I can't wait to show you. Okay, so I've had this done not even 5 minutes ago. The redness is already going away. Guys, that did not hurt at all. I actually thought it was going to be way more painful than it was. I'm like petrified of needles, and I was actually really nervous about doing this, and it's something I had kind of always wanted to have done because it does run in the family that like we all get this little scrunchiness like right here and it just stays there. So I'm really excited to see how it turns out. Make sure you follow Dr. Mariwalla and myself on Instagram because I'll show pictures in about a week when everything will start to show up. That way you guys can see what everything looks like. I'm really excited about it. And yeah, I will see you guys in the next video. If you guys haven't watched the last one, you can go click right here. We did 4 DIY face masks. So yeah, go check that out and I'll see you guys soon. Bye.